The night was still when Emily said, "Please, not again," her arms tightening around little Lily as the air trembled with tension. The walls seemed to close in, every shadow heavy with fear. Mark's voice cut like glass. "You think you can just erase me?" His anger rose, his fists clenched, and the veins in his neck pulsed with betrayal. He glared at Emily, his eyes wild, his breath ragged. Emily's heart pounded, her breath short, each second dragging into eternity. She pulled Lily closer, whispering, "I won't let him hurt us again." The child whimpered, pressing her face into Emily's chest. Mark turned, his jaw tight, his hand slamming against the doorframe. The sharp sound echoed through the apartment like a gunshot. He growled, "You'll regret this," before storming out. The door slammed shut, rattling the glass panes. Lily cried softly, and Emily whispered, "It's over. It's over," though her voice betrayed her fear. Sirens wailed faintly in the distance. The apartment was quiet, but not peaceful. The silence carried the weight of broken trust. Emily held Lily, rocking slightly, though her hands trembled. Every breath reminded her of what she had lost. In the emptiness, Emily thought of nights spent working, sacrifices unseen, and the lonely years that had shaped her. Yet in this moment, betrayal was heavier than love, and despair cut deepest. The sirens grew closer, their sound like an omen. Emily closed her eyes, her voice breaking. "I will fight for you, Lily." The child clung tighter, small arms desperate for safety. The air was thick with grief, but Emily felt a spark within, fragile but alive. She looked at the broken door and whispered, "This ends here." The storm outside was nothing compared to hers. Time slowed, and in the chaos of her broken world, Emily made her vow. No matter how deep the wounds, no matter how cruel the fight, she would not surrender. Emily sat in silence, her chest rising unevenly as Lily whispered, "Will he come back?" The child's voice cut through the stillness like glass. Emily stroked her hair, saying, "Not tonight, sweetheart." The quiet pressed against her like a heavy fog. Her thoughts spiraled through years of sacrifice. Nights working 2 jobs, days spent at court, the loneliness that swallowed her. She told herself, "You are stronger than this," though the echo sounded hollow. The sirens faded, leaving only the ticking clock and the sound of Lily's breath. Emily thought of promises broken and love lost, but also of the small warmth of holding her daughter safe. The weight of betrayal sat heavy as Emily said, "He won't take you from me." Her voice trembled, but carried steel. Lily blinked sleepily, whispering, "Promise." Emily nodded, whispering, "Always." Her gaze drifted to the broken door, a symbol of everything fractured. Memories flooded back of Mark's abandonment, the court threats, the cold years of silence. She whispered to herself, "This is my fight now." The night stretched endlessly. Emily stood at the window, the city lights blurring through her tears. "I gave everything," she whispered, her reflection a stranger. Lily slept nearby, fragile breath steady. Emily thought of each choice, each sacrifice, and each betrayal that brought her here. She clenched her fist. "No more running," she said, the quiet words carrying the weight of a vow. Morning light crept in pale and weak. Emily stirred from the couch, Lily curled beside her like a fragile shadow. "We're okay," Emily whispered, though her voice cracked. The day had begun, and so had the fight. The emptiness of the room matched the weight in her heart. She touched Lily's hair softly, thinking of what lay ahead. The world was waiting, and she knew this was only the beginning. The courthouse steps loomed ahead, gray stone towering against the pale morning sky. Emily said, "We have to do this," her voice steady though her hands trembled. Lily clung to her side, eyes wide with silent questions. Mark stood a few feet away, his lawyer whispering in his ear. His smirk cut deep into Emily's resolve. He said, "This will be over soon, and you'll lose everything." His words tasted like poison in the air. Emily pulled Lily closer, whispering, "I will not let him take you." Lily's small voice broke through, "I just want us safe." The weight of the moment pressed down harder than the courthouse stone itself. The air buzzed with tension as people walked by, indifferent to the private war unfolding. Emily's supporter Sarah rushed up, saying, "You're not alone. Remember that." Emily nodded, though doubt gnawed at her heart. Mark turned toward them, his stare cold, his jaw tight. He exhaled slowly, as though savoring his power. Emily whispered again to Lily, "We'll fight, and we'll win." Inside the courtroom, the silence was suffocating. Emily sat stiffly, her hands folded tightly, whispering to herself, "Stay strong." Lily sat outside with Sarah, unaware of the storm brewing inside. Mark leaned forward, saying to his lawyer, "She's weak. This is already mine." Emily caught fragments, her stomach twisting. The judge entered, his robe sweeping as he said, "Let's begin." His voice carried authority. Emily's heart pounded as documents were exchanged. She thought of every sacrifice she made, every sleepless night, every moment of fear. She whispered, "For Lily," under her breath, her resolve sharpening. The lawyer's words stung as accusations painted her in shadows. Emily gripped the table, her knuckles pale, forcing herself not to cry. She thought of Lily's face, her only anchor. Emily walked into her office later, clutching her bag tightly. Her boss, Mr. Carter, said, "We need to talk," his tone sharp. Emily swallowed, saying, "I know my work has slipped, but I'm trying." He leaned back, frowning. "You can't fight battles at home and here. We can't afford distractions." Emily's chest tightened. She whispered, "I need this job. Please." His eyes softened slightly, but remained guarded. The office buzzed outside the glass walls, colleagues whispering, their eyes on her. She thought of bills stacked at home, of Lily's shoes wearing thin. Her desperation clawed at her chest. Mr. Carter sighed, "Prove you can handle this. One more slip, and you're out." Emily nodded, forcing composure, whispering, "I will not fail." Inside, her fear burned hotter than ever. That night, Sarah sat across from Emily at the kitchen table, the air heavy with unsaid truths. Sarah said, "There's something you need to know." Emily frowned. "What now?" Her voice carried exhaustion. Sarah hesitated, biting her lip. "Mark isn't fighting alone. Someone close to you has been helping him." Emily froze, whispering, "Who?" Sarah's eyes dropped. "It's Daniel." The name struck Emily like a blade. Memories of her trusted friend flooded back, his support, his words of comfort. Emily said, "He betrayed me?" Her hands shook, her stomach knotted. Sarah nodded, whispering, "I'm sorry. I had to tell you." Emily's voice broke. "I trusted him." Lily stirred in the next room, her soft sighs breaking the silence. Emily clenched her jaw, whispering, "Then I'll fight them both." Alone in her bedroom, Emily stared at the ceiling, the weight of betrayal crushing her chest. She whispered, "Daniel, why?" The silence answered, with only the hum of the night. She rose, looking into the mirror, her reflection tired but burning with resolve. She said softly, "They want to break me, but they won't." Her voice cracked, but held strength beneath. Images of court, of her boss's warning, of Daniel's betrayal swirled in her mind. The battle lines were clear. Emily whispered, "For Lily, I'll endure anything." Her vow carved deep into her heart. Tears streaked her face, but her eyes shone with steel. She lay beside Lily, brushing her hair softly. Emily said, "We will not fall." The child shifted, her breath warm and steady. The custody hearing began with tension thick in the air. Emily sat straight at the defendant's table, whispering to herself, "For Lily, hold steady." The wooden walls seemed to press inward, heavy with judgment. Mark leaned in toward his lawyer, smirking. He said, "She'll break soon enough." Emily's chest tightened, but she held her gaze steady. Her lawyer whispered, "Stay calm, we'll answer everything." The judge looked down at Emily, eyes sharp. "Do you believe you can provide a stable environment for your daughter?" Emily said, "Yes, Your Honor. I will protect her with everything I have." Mark interrupted, "She's reckless, unstable, always working too much." His words sliced the room, drawing whispers from the audience. Emily gripped the table, jaw clenched, refusing to let tears rise. She glanced at Sarah in the gallery. Sarah mouthed, "You're strong." Emily took a shaky breath and whispered again, "For Lily." The judge nodded slowly, pen scratching across paper as silence filled the chamber. The lawyer questioned Emily sharply, "Isn't it true you've left Lily with neighbors late at night?" Emily answered, "I worked double shifts, but Lily was always safe. I did it for her." Her voice cracked but carried strength. Mark leaned back smirking. He said, "She put her career over her child." Emily turned toward the judge, saying, "Every decision I made was for Lily's future. I never abandoned her." The room buzzed with tension. The judge raised a hand, silencing the murmurs. Emily's lawyer rose. "She has sacrificed endlessly for her child, Your Honor." Emily's chest heaved, her eyes burning but dry. She whispered, "You will not twist my love into weakness." Her words echoed louder in her heart than in the courtroom. The weight of every night, every tear, carried into her gaze, unwavering. Outside the courthouse, Emily collapsed onto the stone steps, her breath trembling. Sarah knelt beside her, saying, "Don't let him rattle you. He thrives on fear." Emily said, "He twists everything. I feel like I'm drowning." Sarah gripped her hand tightly, saying, "You've carried more alone than most could ever imagine. Don't forget that." Emily exhaled, whispering, "What if I'm not enough?" Sarah's voice rose, "You are more than enough." The cold wind swept through, scattering papers from Emily's bag. She gathered them quickly, muttering, "I can't lose her." Sarah helped, whispering, "Then fight harder. You're not alone this time." Emily nodded, eyes wet but steady. She whispered, "For Lily, I will fight." The courthouse towered above, gray and unyielding, but her voice carved a spark of resolve into the heavy silence. That evening, Emily sat at her kitchen table with Lily, helping with homework. Lily said softly, "Why is Daddy so angry?" Emily smiled weakly, "He doesn't understand us, but we'll be okay." Her voice trembled, but carried promise. Lily traced letters slowly, her small hands shaking. Emily held them steady, whispering, "You are my strength, Lily." The words steadied her as much as they did her child. Sarah entered quietly with groceries, saying, "You need to eat." Emily smiled faintly. "Thank you for everything." Sarah replied, "You don't need to thank me. We'll get through this together." Emily thought of the day's pain, the courtroom shadows, the smirk on Mark's face. She whispered to herself, "We will not break." Lily looked up, asking, "Promise?" Emily nodded, "Promise." Emily's lawyer called late that night. His voice was serious. "Mark is planning to bring Daniel as a witness." Emily's breath caught. "Daniel," she whispered, her chest aching. He said, "Yes, and he's agreed to testify against you." Her mind spun with betrayal, Daniel's laughter in past moments echoing against the silence now. Emily whispered, "I trusted him. How could he?" Lily stirred in her sleep, her presence a fragile reminder of why Emily had to endure. She pressed the phone tighter, saying, "Then we fight with truth, nothing else." Her lawyer paused. "Are you ready?" Emily whispered, "I have no choice. Lily is my choice." Emily stared at the ceiling, tears falling quietly. She whispered again, "For Lily." The words became her shield, her vow, etched deeper than the wounds left by betrayal. The courtroom buzzed as Mark's lawyer said, "Your Honor, we call Daniel to the stand." Emily froze, whispering, "Not him." Sarah placed a steadying hand on her shoulder, whispering, "Breathe. You'll get through this." Daniel entered, avoiding Emily's eyes. Emily whispered, "Why Daniel?" though her voice never left her lips. He sat, swearing to tell the truth, his expression carved from stone. Mark smirked, leaning toward his lawyer. "This is the nail in her coffin," he muttered. Emily's lawyer whispered, "Let him speak. The truth can still turn." Emily clenched her fists, her pulse echoing in her ears. Daniel said Emily isn't always stable. She struggles to balance work and her daughter. His words stabbed deep. Emily closed her eyes, whispering to herself, I will not shatter. Not here. The judge scribbled notes, his face unreadable. Sarah whispered, He's lying for Mark. Emily straightened, whispering back, Then I'll expose them both. Emily's lawyer rose. Mr. Daniel, did you ever witness Emily neglecting her daughter? Daniel shifted uncomfortably, muttering, She was often exhausted, sometimes late. The lawyer pressed, But Lily was safe, wasn't she? Daniel hesitated. Yes. Emily exhaled sharply, her fists unclenching. Mark shot Daniel a glare, muttering under his breath, Stick to the plan. The judge looked up sharply, narrowing his eyes. Sarah whispered, He's cracking. Emily whispered back, Truth has weight, let it fall. She straightened, her breath steady now, her chest filled with fragile hope. Daniel stammered, Emily works hard. Maybe too hard, but she loves her daughter. The courtroom shifted in energy, whispers rising. Mark clenched his jaw, whispering, Useless. Emily closed her eyes briefly, whispering, Lily, this is for you. She felt strength rising again, steady and unbroken, even in betrayal's shadow. Later that night, Emily sat in her small living room, staring at the papers scattered across the table. Lily asked softly, Why do people lie? Emily swallowed hard, whispering, Because they're afraid. The truth always finds light. Lily's small hand slid into hers, whispering, You're not afraid. Emily smiled faintly, though her eyes were wet. She said, I am afraid, but being brave means fighting even when you are. Sarah leaned against the doorway, arms crossed. He cracked today. Daniel couldn't hold it, she said. Emily whispered, But it still hurts. Sarah nodded, And yet you're still standing. Emily kissed Lily's forehead. We stand together, she whispered. Lily smiled softly, whispering, Always. The weight of betrayal dulled, replaced by the fragile glow of love, unbroken. The next day, Emily's boss, Mr. Carter, called her into his office. You're distracted, he said sternly. Emily replied, I'm fighting for my daughter's life. I can't pretend it doesn't affect me. His eyes softened briefly, then hardened again. He said, The firm needs results. If you fall behind again, you're done. Emily swallowed, whispering, I will not lose this. He frowned. I hope you mean your job too. She left the office, her chest burning. Sarah met her outside, asking, What happened? Emily said, He's waiting for me to fail. Sarah whispered, Then prove him wrong. Emily closed her eyes, whispering, For Lily, I'll endure. Each word carried her through the cold glass corridors of the office, every reflection of herself a reminder of strength rising against collapse. That night, Emily sat by Lily's bed, brushing her hair gently as she slept. She whispered, They want me broken, but they'll never take you. Her voice cracked but carried fire beneath the softness. She thought of Daniel's betrayal, Mark's smirk, her boss's warnings, and the weight of every judgment. Her chest ached, but her eyes glowed with unshaken resolve. She whispered again, We will not break. Sarah entered quietly, placing a blanket over Emily's shoulders. Rest, she said softly. Emily whispered, How can I, when tomorrow they come again? Sarah replied, Because tomorrow you rise stronger. Emily kissed Lily's forehead, whispering, For you, always. She leaned back, exhaustion washing over her, but beneath the fatigue was a steady flame that betrayal could not smother. The evening was quiet when a knock came at Emily's door. She froze, whispering, Who now? Sarah stood behind her, whispering, Do you want me to open it? Emily shook her head, slowly stepping forward. When she opened the door, a man stood there, weathered by time. His voice cracked, Emily, it's me. Her breath caught, her heart pounding. Uncle Robert, she whispered. He nodded, tears shining in his tired eyes. Sarah gasped, You told me he was gone. Emily's voice trembled. I thought he was. He left years ago. Robert said, I never stopped watching. I came because I know what Mark is doing to you. Emily gripped the doorframe, her mind spinning. She whispered, "Why now?" Robert's jaw tightened. "Because the time has come. You can't fight this alone anymore." Inside the apartment, Robert sat at the table, his hands rough and scarred. Emily stared at him, whispering, "You disappeared. I raised Lily alone. Why didn't you help?" He lowered his eyes. "I was broken, but I never stopped caring." Lily peeked from the hallway, whispering, "Mom, who is he?" Emily whispered back, "This is Robert, your uncle." Robert's eyes softened. "You're so much like her." Emily frowned. "Don't speak of the past like you own it." Sarah whispered, "Emily, listen, he might have answers we need." Emily's heart ached, her voice sharp. "Answers don't erase years of silence." Robert leaned forward, "But they might save Lily now." Robert unfolded old papers from his bag. "Mark has allies, and one of them works inside the court," he said. Emily whispered, "What are you talking about?" He pointed, "Corruption runs deep. I've been following it for years." Sarah said, "If this is true, it changes everything." Emily shook her head, whispering, "I don't trust him. He left me when I needed him most." Robert's eyes glistened. "I left because I thought I would only bring you harm." Emily said coldly, "And now you want to be my savior?" He whispered, "No, I just want to be family again." Silence filled the room, broken only by Lily's small voice, "Mom, maybe he can help." Emily stepped away from the table, staring out the window. "I can't just let you walk back into my life," she said. Robert stood slowly, his voice steady. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking to fight with you." Sarah whispered, "Emily, we need every ally we can get." Emily whispered back, "But the cost of trusting him may be too high." Robert said, "Mark isn't just cruel, he's dangerous. I know his secrets." Emily turned, fire in her eyes. "Then prove it. Show me something real." Robert slid a photo across the table. "This is where he goes to meet them," he said. Emily stared, whispering, "This could end him." The night stretched long as Emily sat with Sarah after Robert left. Emily whispered, "Why now? Why appear after all this time?" Sarah said softly, "Because sometimes the past returns when you need it most." Emily's heart was heavy. She whispered, "I don't know if I can trust him, but I know I can't ignore what he showed me." Sarah replied, "Use it, Emily. Don't let fear blind you." Emily looked toward Lily's room, the door slightly open. She whispered, "Everything I do is for her. If this means letting ghosts back in, then so be it." Her voice steadied, "But I'll never let him break us again." She leaned back, exhaustion pulling at her, but a new weapon now lay in her hands. Truth revealed by the man she thought was lost forever. The courtroom brimmed with tension as Emily stood to testify. She whispered to herself, "This is it." Sarah, seated behind her, whispered, "You've got this." Emily faced the judge, her voice trembling, "I've given everything for Lily." Mark leaned forward, his tone sharp, "She's unstable, Your Honor. Look at her breaking under pressure." Emily straightened, replying, "Breaking is not failing. It's proof I've carried the weight alone for years." The judge's pen paused mid-scribble. Emily pressed on, her words firm. "I worked 3 jobs, gave up sleep, and sacrificed my own life to ensure Lily never went without." Her chest heaved, but her eyes held fire. Mark scoffed, "She paints herself as a hero, but the truth is she's selfish." Emily turned toward him, voice sharp, "The truth is, I chose Lily every single day, while you chose yourself." The audience murmured, tension swelling as the judge raised a hand. Emily whispered softly, "For Lily," her words almost lost but echoing in her heart like thunder. Emily's lawyer presented the evidence Robert had given them. Photos slid across the table. "These show Mark meeting with court officials," the lawyer said. Gasps rippled through the room. Mark's face twisted. "This is fabricated." Emily stared him down, whispering, "Your lies are unraveling." The judge leaned forward, brows furrowed. "Explain these, Mr. Davis." Mark stammered, his confidence faltering. Robert sat in the gallery, his eyes steady on Emily. She glanced at him briefly, whispering, "Maybe you came back for this." Sarah leaned close, whispering, "The truth is finally cutting through." Mark's lawyer scrambled. These mean nothing without context. Emily's lawyer replied firmly, context is clear. He tried to corrupt this court. The judge's gavel struck, silencing the chaos. Emily whispered, justice is speaking now, her chest swelling with fragile relief as the tide turned in her favor. Mark exploded, slamming his hand on the table. She's lying. They're all against me. The judge barked, order. His voice shook the chamber. Emily whispered, you reveal yourself without me saying a word. Sarah clasped her hands, whispering, don't let him pull you down. Emily nodded, whispering, I won't. Mark glared at Emily, voice trembling with rage. You'll regret this. Emily met his eyes, calm, not anymore. His lawyer tugged his sleeve, whispering urgently, but Mark jerked away, shouting, I will not lose to her. Gasps echoed from the gallery. The judge's gavel struck again. One more outburst and I'll hold you in contempt. Emily inhaled, her hands steady now. She whispered, the truth will always rise, Mark, even if you bury it in lies. Her voice carried further than she realized, silencing the room. Emily was recalled to the stand. The judge asked, why should this court trust you with custody? Emily's chest tightened, but she spoke clearly, because I am not perfect, but I am present. Every day, every moment I choose Lily. Her voice cracked, but she pressed on. I work tirelessly, I fight battles no one sees, and I sacrifice without complaint. My daughter is not my burden. She is my reason. Sarah wiped tears in the gallery. Robert bowed his head, whispering, she's stronger than ever. Emily continued, Mark abandoned us time and again. I never left. I never will. That is the difference. The silence in the courtroom was deafening. Emily whispered, I don't ask for pity. I ask for the chance to give my child the love and stability she deserves. The judge nodded slowly, visibly moved. The judge raised his gavel. This court will deliberate, he said, his voice solemn. Emily exhaled slowly, whispering, it's almost over. Mark glared, muttering, this isn't finished. Emily replied firmly, for me it is. Sarah placed her hand on Emily's shoulder, whispering, no matter what happens, you've already won. Emily turned to her, whispering, because I stood for Lily. Sarah nodded, exactly. Robert approached, whispering softly, I failed before, but I will stand by you now. Emily looked at him for a long moment, then nodded faintly. She whispered, this fight isn't just mine anymore. As the gavel echoed through the chamber, Emily closed her eyes. She whispered, for Lily, always. The room fell silent, the weight of years of pain and love pressing into this single fragile moment of truth. The judge's voice filled the courtroom. Custody is awarded to Emily Davis. Gasps echoed, and Emily pressed her hands to her mouth, whispering, we did it. Lily leapt into her arms, whispering, Mommy, we won. Mark's face twisted, his fists clenched. He muttered, this isn't over. Emily stared back firmly, yes, it is. You can't break us anymore. His lawyer sank into his chair, defeated. Sarah clapped softly from the gallery, whispering, you never gave up. Robert bowed his head, tears streaming. Emily whispered, for Lily, everything was worth it. The courtroom slowly emptied, leaving her in fragile triumph. She clutched Lily tightly, whispering, this was our fight, and we survived. The gavel's echo still rang in her ears, but it sounded now like freedom, not fear. Outside the courthouse, Emily stood in the sunlight, her arms wrapped around Lily. Lily whispered, we can go home now, right? Emily smiled softly, yes, sweetheart, we're finally free. Sarah stepped forward, embracing them both. You fought harder than anyone could have asked, she said. Emily whispered, I couldn't have done it without you. Robert stood nearby, hesitant, whispering, you're stronger than your mother ever was. Emily's eyes narrowed. Don't talk about her. Robert nodded, silent, his guilt heavy. Sarah whispered, this is a new beginning. Emily whispered back, a hard one, but ours. The sun broke through the clouds, warming Emily's face. She whispered, "We survived the storm, now we rebuild." At home, Emily sat on the couch with Lily curled beside her. Lily whispered, "We're safe now." Emily stroked her hair gently, whispering, "Yes, my love, safe at last." Tears filled her eyes, but they were no longer from fear. Sarah entered with food, saying, "You both need rest." Emily whispered, "Rest will come, but first I need to breathe." Robert sat silently at the table, staring at the floor. Emily glanced at him, whispering, "You stayed. Thank you." Lily looked up, whispering, "Can he stay for dinner?" Emily smiled faintly. "For tonight, yes." For the first time in years, the air felt lighter, though the wounds beneath were still raw. Later that night, Emily stood at the window, city lights glowing in the distance. Sarah whispered from the couch, "You did it, you saved her." Emily whispered, "We saved each other." Robert spoke quietly, "I'll leave tomorrow if you want." Emily turned, whispering, "Stay. If you mean to help, then help." He nodded silently. She looked at Lily asleep on the couch, whispering, "She is my world. Every scar, every battle was worth it for her." Sarah whispered, "You've carried enough alone. Let us carry with you now." Emily whispered, "Maybe it's time to let others in." Her reflection in the glass was weary, but for the first time, it was also hopeful. Morning came quietly. Emily walked into Lily's room, sunlight spilling through curtains. She whispered, "Time to wake up, my love." Lily stirred, smiling sleepily. "Good morning, Mommy." Emily sat beside her, whispering, "We're stronger now, and we'll never stop fighting." Lily wrapped her arms around her, whispering, "Always together." Sarah entered softly, smiling, "Coffee's ready." Robert stood at the door, his eyes tired but softer than before. Emily whispered, "Today is the first day of the rest of our lives." For the first time, peace replaced the storm inside her chest. The fight had cost everything, but in Lily's smile, Emily found her redemption.